Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Flourishing in the Youth podcast. Today we're with Zainab Al-Musawi, founder of To the Moon and Back Cafe, a Dubai Australian inspired cafe. Okay, so hi Zainab. We will be going over a set of questions in which they will show us more about the cafe and the experience. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay. So Zainab, tell us a bit about yourself and what inspired you to start a cafe.
Okay, so what inspired me to start the cafe is kind of like tied into my personality as well and my journey. I studied in Australia for a very long time. Like for 10 years, and I decided to stay there for that long time. And part of my experience over there is working as a in a cafe as a student. And that's what started and inspired this whole journey to start my own cafe. So I worked as a junior barista, and I kept I really liked it and I found it passionate. So then I kept on moving forward, like in different cafes and experiencing different roles as a barista.
So you can do your own one day? Was that your
No, honestly, I was just completely immersed in the experience and I genuinely enjoyed it. So I was just having fun, but I never thought that, one day I will have my own cafe. Maybe later on, but I will talk about that later. But during the experience in the cafes, absolutely did not occur to me to have my own cafe one day.
So what's the story behind the name To the Moon and Back idea?
That is always the most difficult question to answer because it all makes sense in my head. So I wanted something unique and I wanted something different, like something that absolutely has nothing to do with coffee, because it's not just about coffee for me, it's about the wholesome experience that you go through once you're at TTMB. So I was just juggling names in my head. And then I remembered, I was thinking about how passionate I am about what I'm doing, how much I went through and experienced, how many people affected me during that journey. And then the phrase To the Moon and Back came to my head just randomly, out of nowhere, because it's the phrase that usually described when you love something so much. It's I love you to the moon and back. And then I just started reflecting on the name, and I was actually that makes sense because coffee is a big part of my culture, of the UAE culture, and I've always hated coffee as a kid, as a teenager. Yeah, I only drank coffee literally for the first time and liked it when I was in Australia. So it's almost I had to travel that far away from my culture where it's an essence to actually love it, and then decide you know what, I'm gonna go back to my roots and fall in love with coffee again. So it's similar. Okay, I hope that makes sense.
It does. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when starting your cafe and how did you overcome them?
I think not knowing much, again, I've been away for 10 years from the UAE, so it was very difficult for me to start over. First of all, I don't have the community, all my friends, high school friends just moved on with their life and we lost contact. And then I didn't know about the rules, the law, when it comes to establishing your own business. Plus, I didn't have the background in terms of starting a business. Yes, I did work on the back end as a barista, as a staff member. But yeah, so it was all new to me and it was very overwhelming. And I was I didn't have I didn't know where to go for help. So I guess starting from scratch completely was very scary.
So how do you stay competitive in a market filled with both local and cafe chains?
Honestly, it's good to be aware. I always say that it's good to be aware of your competition and whatever is opening left and right, because it's living in Dubai, knowing that every day literally 2, 3, 4 cafes or new concepts would open. But to stay focused on what I'm doing and on my true passion, why did I first started my own personal vision, where do I want to take TTMB? It helps me just to stay focused and not be distracted or by the other challenges or competitions. It's makes it more of a fun competition rather than always all of them.
Yeah, so I can count. Yeah. So what makes your cafe unique compared to the others in Dubai?
I would say first thing that comes to mind is community. I feel I'm very blessed by having a community that supports me. A group of regulars, like I always go there, and sometimes it gets overwhelming, but it's always a nice thing to see like familiar faces. Like I would say like confidently that I know 90% of the people that come to TTMB, and there's always a chance to like meet new people. And it's like, oh, this is a friend of my friend who would introduce me to them. And so the community essence is a unique aspect of the business.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to start their own cafe or local business?
I'd say just focus on what you want and try not to let other noises affect your initial idea. Everybody's gonna try to give you an input, which is a good thing, but it's good to have confidence in what you want and in your original idea so that you won't be affected by the noises around you, because everybody has a different opinion, which is fine, but you need to be true to yourself and what you want.
So what does the future of the cafe scene in Dubai look like, and where do you see your cafe fitting in?
Dubai is very unpredictable, I'd say, so it's always exciting to see what's going to happen next. But at the same level, like judging by what's happening now, or like what's been happening in the past 5 years since I started the cafe, observing the market, I would say that the cafes are never gonna die. It's a culture that's been there for ages, and people love sitting in cafes. People are never gonna get sick of coffee, so they always want to go into a place where they can hang out and like either read or like socialize and stuff. So I'm not worried about that aspect, that only the cafe culture is gonna die. But I'm seeing Dubai being a place where maybe bigger brands are gonna come in, or like loved brands are just gonna be franchised from all over the world and come here. So maybe that's gonna be a bit challenging, because they might come with their communities, you know, because Dubai is a big hub that's attracting all nationalities from all over the world, and people stay. They don't just come for, you know, it's like for like a few months or so. So maybe that's a challenge, but it's also a push for me to always like stay updated in what's happening around the world, like in terms of the food and beverage, and expand on that. And in terms of my future plans for TTMB, I'm already working on it. So soon, inshallah, I'll be opening my own bakery. So that's going to be the next step for TTMB.
So do you have a signature dish or beverage that people must try when they come?
I will be very biased because I curate my own menu, so I love everything that I have on the menu.
So everything has a story.
Yes. So technically, like I'm a big foodie. Like I love food, and then whatever I put on the menu is kind of like based on my craving. Like I'm it's like, but I think people are gonna love that, and then I would put it on the menu as a try, like as a special item. And then if people loved it, then I would just keep it there. But I would say, putting myself aside based on the judgments of the feedback that are being given, the cheesecake, interestingly, which was the very first item ever that I had on the menu before even establishing my own kitchen, is still a popular item between all the clients, and the ricotta strawberry pancake.
So what role does sustainability play in your business practices from sourcing your ingredients to packaging?
So I try to always minimize the use of plastic. So that's a big thing that I always try to focus on. And aside from that, I am inspired by the Italian culture when it comes to food and ingredients. So I incorporate simplicity in my menu. So I would try to minimize waste by utilizing the ingredients as many times as I want. So if you look at the menu, you would notice that similar ingredients are used in multiple dishes, but in a different way, like different style of cooking, different style of like fermentation and stuff like that. So that's how I minimize waste and kind of like utilize the ingredients that I use.
Can you tell us more about your collaboration with local suppliers or artists, and how do you support other local businesses? We also seen that the designs on your packaging are really, really nice, so it looks inspiring.
So again, like, because I answered the question about the community being the biggest support for me, I'd say like a lot of things are actually from the community into the community. So for example, all the illustrations that you're seeing with the products here are by a friendship that I developed from TTNB. So it was one of the customers, and so actually there are two sisters, not even from the UAE, they're from Saudi, that I got to know, and they're both talented. So I really like this style of art, and I felt like it's the most fitting for TTNB, and then we had a chance. Yeah, exactly. So it's very quirky, very eccentric, it's very different, and I felt like it's the best fitting for TTNB. And since the very first year, every anniversary, we would have a new a design with the same artist to kind of like describe all what we went through during that year. Which is something that I really love.
Your designs have some history.
Everything has history and everything has story. For example, one of mine, like if you look at the cup over here, the latest cup for our previous anniversary, the 5th anniversary, is about nostalgia. So it's because I'm a 90s kid, like I lived through the 90s, and everything here is like our favorite stuff from the 90s. And the majority of the client base could relate to it as well. So that's something that I like to incorporate. Another thing is another favorite design of mine is after COVID recovery. So it was, and unfortunately I don't have the cups now. We ran out of that design, but it's going to come back. It's the story of how the community was being very supportive for me during the COVID times, because it was very ambiguous. Like we didn't really know what's going to happen. And I was going like the thought of I might lose to TNB. I might actually like have to close it. It was very scary. But then after that whole period of time, as soon as we reopened TTNB, everybody started coming back, our familiar faces, and that was really heartwarming. So that was incorporated in the design as well. So every little design, whether on the products or even like when you come to the shop, you would see bits and pieces around the shop. It's all from the community. Like the pottery is from someone that I got to know as well, and she made the pottery for me. Like you'd see art pieces from like photographers from the community, and they just gifted it to TTNB. So I'm very grateful for that.
So how has social media helped in promoting your cafe and connecting with your audience?
So I'm not very big on social media.
Yeah, really.
It's because I've noticed that the TTNB is mainly community-based, so the word of mouth has a big impact, even more than social media. Social media, I would only use it, say, if I was in a creative mood, and then, I don't know if you've noticed the astronaut that I bring every now and then, so the astronaut photo shoot is one of my favorites, and I do it like personally with friends of mine. But I would utilize social media for new items that I want to introduce, or collaborations between, or the collaborations or pop-ups with like different artists, different chefs in the community. Other than that, I'm not the kind of person who would like post every single day just for the sake of posting.
Right. Not for the sake of posting, but don't you want new people, don't you want to reach to new customers?
Yes, I do, and I hope that I'm right with that. Again, like I feel like all the new customers that are coming in are from word of mouth, but maybe I need to spend more effort.
So do you plan, or do you want to expand your presence online someday in the version?
Yeah.
Your cafe offers a cozy vibe, perfect for socializing or working. How did you design the environment to match this?
So again, the intention was not for, like, I didn't have that in mind per se. I guess it really was on the subconscious level, because I wanted the space to myself. That's what I always tell people, like, because I was away and I didn't have many friends when I came back, and I didn't have a community. So for me, I transferred all my favorites from
a safe place.
A safe place, yeah. So all the designs are inspired from bits and pieces of cafes that I really loved, and around like whether Australia or other places that I went to around the world, and kind of like collectively brought them together and created this space. So I didn't really think strategically about it, and
so where you had a safe place where you want to feel
exactly.
comfortable.
Yeah, like even the playlist is like my personal songs. That's like my personal playlist. Whatever I add on my Spotify, and I just like, have it for the shop as well. So it's all kind of like a personal experience, and I think that's reflecting really nicely on even like the kind of people that I attract, the kind of clients that I attract.
So, what kind of experience do you want your customers to have when they walk through the door?
I want them to ideally experience what I felt while introducing TTNP. So basically, to feel like I have walked through a different, like a different bubble, like now a comfort zone. Like I left all my worries, all my thoughts, all of the things, all of the noise outside, and this is why TTNP is like in a hidden garden, because it was intentionally to have it like in a safe space. So I want them to, as soon as they walk through the door, to feel like they are being transformed, yes, into like a different place, or like a different universe where they feel like, oh, you know, it's like I'm comfortable now and I can relax, I can do whatever I want to do and have my own time.
So, what kind of customer feedback do you pay the most attention to when evolving your menu or services? I know you said your menu is all about your cravings, but is there a subconscious maybe that makes you want?
Oh no, it's a conscious one. It's a conscious one because like the community, I know them personally. So every time I decide to cook something or introduce something, then I would invite everybody for a tasting. I would go, there you go. I'm going to have a feast, or it depends on how many items I want to introduce, and then I would take everybody's opinion on that dish or like on that cookie or that steak. And the community honestly is very involved in my cravings.
Do you host any special events or activities for your customers, like workshops or community gatherings?
Workshops, no. There's a plan for that, but at the moment, at this day, we haven't. But we do a lot of pop-ups, a lot of like and it doesn't have to be related to food and beverage per se. We do have a lot of art-related pop-ups. Artists displaying their art pieces, or like even like interior design pieces. But gatherings we do. Like one of the gatherings that I can think of during Ramadan, we do a iftar gathering for like members of our community. Yeah.
Can you share a memorable moment or story of one of your customers that's that?
Yeah, there are plenty. That's the blessing of having your community. But I think one of the most ones that pop in my head right now is one customer who I used to see on daily basis, solo, journaling, and reading. Like literally on every single day, every single morning, and then suddenly he disappeared. So I got curious and intrigued. I was like, I wonder where did that customer go? Days later, I received an email, like a very long email from the customer, thanking me about the space and telling me how much it meant to him and how it was inspiring for him, like in terms of like writing his writings and stuff. And that was very heartwarming, and that customer had to move away for a few years, and just last year I walked into TTNB and I saw him. So I had to approach him and I was like, thank you for the email, I never got to thank you personally, and I'm really glad that you had that experience at TTNB. And so we got to chat, and I was very, very, very happy to see him coming back after like 2 or 3 years with the same energy, with the same enthusiasm, with the same loyalty to TTNP. So that was one of my special stories that I had to go through.
And are there any? I know you said that you're planning on opening your bakery, but do you have specific plans for the cafe stand in the future?
It's a sustainability plan. So. TTNB needs, my plan for TTNB is to be self-sustainable. So for example, all the ingredients are going to be used within TTNB hub. So for example, the bread that I'm going to supply is all going to be like circulated within. So it's like a TTNB umbrella. So the bakery, all the baked goods are not going to be exclusive over there. Of course, they're going to be sold there, and the bread that I'm going to bake over there is going to be utilized and incorporated within the dishes that we're using at TTNP. So, and then one day I'm gonna have my own roasters. I want to roast my own beans, 40 kmb. So it's like it's all a sustainable plan for 40 kmb growth. But in terms of franchise, no. Is it?
How has you said your personal journey as you moved to not hair care, but how has it impacted more and the identity of the cafe? How has your personal journey impacted the identity?
I guess all the experiences that I went through, like my personal role as a barista as well, like starting from zero and then growing and meeting different people from different personalities, different nationalities as well, in different cafes, and then seeing how each cafe has its own atmosphere, like its own way, its own client base. And then traveling around to like coffee farms and then understanding the perspective of the farmers, of the coffee farmers as well, definitely impacted my experience in terms of I'm very picky about the beans that I'm getting for TTMB, or like about the role or the impact that the farmer is having. And also like in terms of like footprint and the wages, the fair wages, the fair trading, all of that, like I have a massive understanding of that. So it does definitely impact how I source my bean and how I, like what roasters do I choose to deal with or like to collaborate with. So I guess, yeah.
Looking back, is there anything you do differently if you were to start that cafe again?
Honestly, no.
I don't think so. So one last question. What has been the most rewarding part of running a homegrown cafe?
The community. Getting to know people, getting close to people, having my own community, having my own safe zone, and knowing that people can relate to it and people can feel all of the love and effort that I've put there and that they are coming every day. That's the most rewarding thing for me, and obviously feeding people. That's a big thing. So that's part of my life.
Thank you so much for answering all the questions. But before that, could you tell us more about the products you got? For example, what's this?
So this is a coffee drip bag. And you have all the instructions here. It's an instant coffee. It's like while you're in the office or at school, you don't really have time, but you don't want to get like you want like a specialty coffee. You're like used to that taste, and you don't want anything else. So this is very easy. You just literally open the bag and pour hot water, and then you've got all the flavors that you want. And so I made it like in a fun way with a fun design.
The color.
Yes. So this is like, where are you going? I'm going to the moon. And my friend decided that this character is me, so you will see it everywhere. And I also have my cat, which design as well. I believe he's on the shuttle. Here he's on the chocolate bar. Like we had a collaboration, like a very limited collaboration with Raisin Chocolate. So we developed chocolate bars that have my cat on it as well. So you will see hints for like a fun yes, it's here and there on the product, and that's all like linking to the or like connecting to the artistic part of me, or like the quirky part, but not in your face. So you just like look at it and then you realize that gives you a gift. So every product has a story. With this one, it's always like I always say, yes, the space is a big part of the theme, but it's not all about space. So, for example, with the filter roast, we have the community, and I'm blessed that I'm getting all nationalities coming in and relating to the space. So we decided to highlight that in the design of the filter.
And thank you so much for coming. And it's really inviting.
Thank you for having me here. It was fun.
Thank you guys for listening to today's episode with Reina. We hope you guys felt inspired and would go to your cafe.
Please come in. You're more than welcome.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.